markets are powerful investment opportunities, but also the safest, beginner-friendly ways you can start investing today, even if you've never invested before. So, why exactly are emerging markets so attractive right now? Why are experts, myself included, saying they're the future of investing? Let's break it down into 4 simple reasons: growth, demographics, innovation, and diversification. 1. Faster economic growth. First, growth. If you look at countries like the US or those in Europe, their economies typically grow around 1 to 2% per year. That's stable, but slow. Compare that with India, which has been growing at 6 to 7% annually, or Vietnam, which has averaged over 5% growth every year for the past 2 decades. That's like comparing a turtle with a cheetah. Emerging markets are literally racing ahead. 2. Young and growing populations. Second, demographics. Developed countries have aging populations. Think about Japan or much of Europe: more retirees, fewer workers. Emerging markets? The opposite. In Nigeria, the median age is just 18 years old. In India, it's around 28 years old. That means millions of young people entering the workforce, earning money, and spending it on housing, smartphones, and entertainment. For investors, that equals a surge in demand. 3. Innovation leapfrogging. Third, innovation. Here's the fascinating part: many emerging markets never had the chance to build old, outdated systems. Instead, they leapfrog straight to new technology. For example, in Kenya, millions of people use M-Pesa, a mobile payment system, instead of traditional banks. In India, cheap smartphones and digital infrastructure have created a massive boom in e-commerce and fintech. And in Brazil, companies like Mercado Libre dominate online shopping, similar to Amazon, but growing much faster. 4. Diversification and global influence. Finally, diversification. If all of your investments are in the US or Europe, you're tied to their economies. But when you include emerging markets in your portfolio, you're spreading your risk across different regions. And let's be real, the influence of these economies is growing. China is already the world's second largest economy. India is set to surpass Japan and Germany in size within the next decade. Ignoring these markets would be like ignoring the internet in the 1990s, a missed opportunity. How do you make money from emerging markets? 1. Investing in individual stocks of emerging market giants. The first way is by investing directly in companies based in emerging markets. Some of these companies are already household names in their countries, and they're expanding globally. Think about Tencent in China, Infosys in India, Mercado Libre in Latin America, or Jumia in Africa. These are the Amazons, Googles, and PayPals of their regions, but they're still in much earlier growth stages than their Western counterparts. If you get in early on the right company, the potential for returns is huge. The key is to stick with well-known, dominant businesses in tech, finance, and e-commerce, rather than gambling on unknown penny stocks. 2. Real estate in fast-growing cities. The second strategy is real estate. As populations grow and middle classes expand, the demand for housing, offices, and malls skyrockets. Cities like Lagos, Nairobi, Ho Chi Minh City, and Bangalore are urbanizing faster than ever. Now, you might be thinking, I can't just go buy a building in Nigeria or Vietnam. That's true. But here's the good news: beginners can access emerging market real estate through international real estate crowdfunding platforms or even by partnering with local developers. These opportunities often start with relatively small amounts, much lower than buying property in the US or Europe. And the returns? Sometimes 2 to 3 times higher than what you'd see in developed markets. 3. Tapping into e-commerce and online businesses. The third way is through e-commerce and online businesses. Emerging markets are experiencing an explosion of online shopping. In Latin America, e-commerce sales grew by more than 35% in a single year. In Africa, companies like Jumia are leading the charge. And in Southeast Asia, platforms like Shopee and Lazada are dominating. As a beginner, you can invest in some of these companies directly, or even better, start your own small online business that sources products from these countries. Imagine importing affordable goods from Vietnam or India and selling them in Western markets, or the other way around, selling Western goods into fast-growing middle classes in Africa or Asia. It's global trade simplified, and thanks to the internet, you don't need millions to start. 4. Investing in frontier market startups and fintech. Fourth, and this one is a little higher risk, but also higher reward, is investing in startups, especially in fintech. In countries where traditional banking is limited, digital wallets and mobile banking apps are exploding. For example, Africa's fintech industry is projected to be worth over $200 billion within the next few years. Now, I'm not saying you should throw money at every startup you see. But platforms now exist that allow small investors to get early stakes in vetted startups across emerging markets. If you choose carefully, just one successful investment could multiply your returns many times over. 5. Remote work and side hustles linked to emerging markets. And finally, here's a strategy many beginners overlook. You don't just have to invest money, you can also make money by offering your skills directly to emerging markets. Many companies in these regions are looking to hire freelancers and remote workers worldwide. Whether it's graphic design, consulting, programming, or even digital marketing, you can position yourself as part of their growth story. Think about it, while you're learning to invest, you could also be earning in dollars by tapping into these global opportunities. That's income you can then reinvest into stocks, real estate, or startups, creating a cycle of wealth building. So those are 5 clear, practical ways you can start making money from emerging markets: individual stocks, real estate, e-commerce, startups, and even side hustles. Some are fast and flexible, others are long-term wealth builders. But all of them allow you to get a piece of the growth happening outside of the Western world. Now, before you rush in, let's get real for a second. Emerging markets are exciting, but they're not risk-free. In the next section, I'll break down the key risks you need to watch out for, and the simple ways beginners like you can protect yourself while still making money. Risk involved in investing in emerging markets. 1. Currency risk. The first risk is currency. Let's say you invest in a company in Nigeria, and the company does great, their stock goes up 20%. But if the Nigerian currency drops 30% against the US dollar, you actually lose money when you convert it back. Currencies in emerging markets can swing wildly, sometimes overnight. That's why beginners should avoid putting all their money in just one country. The smart move is to spread your investments across multiple markets so that one currency drop doesn't wipe you out. 2. Political instability. The second risk is politics. Governments in emerging markets can change policies quickly. A new tax law, a sudden regulation, or political unrest can affect businesses overnight. For example, some countries have imposed sudden restrictions on foreign investors in the past. How do you protect yourself? Stick with countries that have relatively stable governments and clear economic policies. Places like India, Vietnam, or Brazil may have their issues, but they're still committed to growth and global trade. And again, never bet everything on one country. 3. Market volatility. Third, volatility. Emerging market stocks can swing much faster than US or European stocks. A company might soar 50% one month and then crash the next. For beginners, this can be scary. The solution? Think long-term. If you're investing in these markets, don't panic if prices jump up and down. Focus on the bigger picture, the overall growth of the country and the industry. Patience often pays off more than panic. 4. Scams and lack of transparency. Fourth, scams and transparency. Let's be real, not every opportunity you see online is legit. Some so-called emerging market investments are just scams designed to take your money. And even real companies sometimes don't have the same strict reporting standards as those in the US. To stay safe, do your research. Look for companies that are listed on major stock exchanges or that have international backing. If you're joining a platform or startup investment, make sure it's vetted by reputable firms. 5. Overexposure, and finally, overexposure. It's easy to get excited and pour all your money into the next big thing, but that's dangerous. Emerging markets should be a part of your portfolio, not the whole thing. As a rule of thumb, beginners should consider starting with 10 to 20% of their investments in emerging markets. That way, you get the upside of growth without risking everything if things go south. And the good news is, you can do the same. With smart choices, diversification, and patience, emerging markets can become a powerful growth engine for your wealth. So let's take a step back. We've covered a lot in this video. We started with the idea that some of the fastest growing opportunities in the world are not in New York, London, or Tokyo, but in places like Lagos, Mumbai, Sao Paulo, and Ho Chi Minh City. We talked about why emerging markets are hot right now: faster growth, younger populations, bold innovations, and global influence. We explored how beginners like you can make money without needing millions, through stocks of local giants, booming real estate, e-commerce, startups, and even side hustles linked to these economies. And of course, we broke down the risks, and how to protect yourself from them. The big picture. Here's the big picture. Emerging markets are not just a trend, they are the future of global wealth. The next generation of billionaires won't all be sitting in Wall Street boardrooms. They'll be entrepreneurs, innovators, and investors coming out of Africa, Asia, and Latin America. And you have the chance to be part of that wave. A beginner's mindset. If you're a beginner, don't overthink it. You don't need to time the market or pick the perfect country. You simply need to start small, stay consistent, and learn as you go. The earlier you begin, the more time your money has to grow. Think of it like planting a tree. The best time to plant it was 10 years ago. The second best time? Today. Motivational push. Emerging markets represent energy, ambition, and possibility. They're full of challenges, yes, but also full of people chasing dreams, building businesses, and shaping the future. And when you invest in them, you're not just chasing profits. You're becoming part of a global story of growth and transformation. So here's what I want you to do. Take a moment and ask yourself, which emerging market excites you the most? Is it India with its booming tech scene? Africa with its leap into mobile finance? Latin America with its e-commerce explosion? Or Southeast Asia with its unstoppable wealth today? Please, like, thumbs up, subscribe, bell, comment, globe. Here's a truth most people don't realize: if you put your money in the US or Europe right now, your wealth will probably crawl forward at a snail's pace. But in certain countries, the same money could grow 3, even 5 times faster. And no, I'm not talking about some hidden stock market trick or risky crypto play. I'm talking about real economies, real businesses, and real people, in places you might never have thought to look. These are what we call emerging markets, and they're where the next wave of millionaires is being made. Right now, over 60% of all global growth is coming from these countries. Ignore them, and you risk missing out on the biggest wealth-building opportunity of your lifetime. So if you're a beginner asking, where can I start investing today to see faster results, this is it. Stay with me, because I'm going to show you why emerging markets are the best place for your money right now, and how you can start making money from them, even if you're starting with just a few dollars. What are emerging markets and why do they matter? Before we dive into how you can make money fast in these markets, let's make sure we understand what they really are. Emerging markets are countries that are growing rapidly but aren't yet as developed as the United States, Canada, or Western Europe. Think of them as economies in transition, moving from poverty to prosperity, from limited industries to booming technology, finance, and real estate sectors. Examples: India, Nigeria, Vietnam, Brazil, Indonesia, South Africa. These countries are exciting because they're full of energy. They have young populations, meaning more workers, more consumers, and more innovation. They have rising middle classes who are buying homes, smartphones, and cars for the first time. And they're often skipping old technologies entirely, jumping straight to new ones. For example, in parts of Africa, many people never had bank accounts, but today, millions use mobile money apps to pay bills.